Hello everyone, Andy Schwab here with your weekly market roundup here on Northern Ag TV. My, oh my, what a week it was for some of the ag markets. Booming box beef prices brought the cattle markets along for an extraordinary ride, while the soybean skyrocketed on the help of the U.S. leaders. In addition, record numbers continue to show up on the video auctions, with two more decent tests proving that feeders are trying to get their hands on as many yearlings as possible. And we're set to see more video markets take center stage next week. Now, when we come back from the break, we'll break all of this down, and we'll say thank you first to our sponsor, BNSF.
From the beginning, we've worked closely with farmers. BNSF's ties to the agricultural community go back 175 years. Together, we've innovated to make the U.S. agriculture supply chain one of the most efficient and productive in the world. Our strong relationship powers BNSF still today and helps us move the nation like no one else can. At BNSF, we move the nation for you.
Cattle futures finished fully in the green on the final Friday session after the negotiated cash cattle sales were $2 to $3 higher this week, and the box beef prices completed a comeback like no one has ever seen. As you may recall, those prices found themselves on their way to all-time highs heading into the 4th of July holiday, with a stopping point coming at $3.96 a hundredweight. However, the dog days of summer during the month of July drove the prices backwards by over $35, and then you fast forward to the midpoint of August, and box beef values bounced back to break the barrier of $400 per hundredweight. Of course, the record was set in the wake of the COVID pandemic as the choice cut of values, that is, hit $475. So we certainly have a long ways to go to reach that peak. However, the packers are looking to put away beef in the freezers in the coming weeks for the Labor Day purchases, and that could certainly set up a cash cattle rally in the meantime. Now, for the video auctions this week, it was an exciting time for Cattle Country Video Auctions Oregon Trail Classic, as heavy 4-weight steers, they saw the average of those calves coming in at $5.15 a pound, while their heifer mates topped out at $4.82 a pound. The bulk of the steers did come from the yearlings, with the 960 pounders finding the average of $3.36, and spade heifers at 800 pounds, they ran $3.32 to $3.43. As you may recall, though, the week also was kicked off with Western Video Market in Cheyenne, seeing the 6-weight steers average $4.08, and the average of the 900-pound steers, the yearlings that is, they ran $3.51 to $3.60. Amid the busy video sale season, well, the sale barns are also seeing some of their seasonal slowdowns of the head counts in the local auctions, as the coal cow markets and the coal bulls are making up good chunks of those local tests, with Billings Livestock this week seeing a small pullback in the prices on those return to feed quality cows, as their prices came in $153 to $167, while coal bulls at Belfouche Livestock on Thursday were mostly $191 to $217. Belfouche also saw a good test of some yearlings this past week, with steers over 1,000 pounds running $320 to $326 a pound, while 9-weight steers, they were anywhere from $338 to $345.50. Sticking in the Dakotas to switch over to the sheep markets, it was Newell Sheepyards having the big test of feeder lambs after a 2-week break from the Sturgis Bike Rally. 60 and 70-pound feeder lambs were close on their averages, with prices $229 and $220 respectively, while 80-pound feeder lambs found the highest head count at an average of $206 a pound, with those lambs tipping the scale at 90 pounds, averaging $204. Strong prices were also noted earlier in the week at Sioux Falls, with finished lambs seeing the bulk of the prices running $223 to $233. When we switch over to the grain markets, the big winner of the grain markets this week was the soybean markets, as they jumped 55 cents higher compared to the previous Friday close on the heels of a bullish World Ag Supply and Demand Estimates report, and from a Sunday night tweet from President Trump calling on China to step up purchases of the commodity. Unfortunately, the rest of the grain complex got left behind like a little boy watching his big brother head off to his first day of kindergarten. That resulted in two-sided, low-volume trade with little in the way of wheat-specific news other than the same old song and dance that stuck on repeat of large supplies from other major markets such as Russia and European Union. The corn markets also had their own troubles after the WASDE report predicted the U.S. will see a record large 188.8 bushels an acre harvest, which is paired with a record large 97.2 million acres of corn, all leading to the assumption of a whopping 16.7 billion bushel production of corn this year. As always, you can find these prices and much more on our website at northernag.net. Until then, I'm Andy Schwab. Have a great rest of your day.